There are sounds that tell you something's off, like the splash of water when your pool is supposed to be drained. That morning, I was flipping pancakes in the kitchen, scrolling headlines with my other hand, when I heard it, that fat, unmistakable slap of someone hitting the water, followed by a laugh that made my spine straighten. I froze. My wife was at her sister's, the kids were with their cousins. The back gate? I had locked it not 30 minutes ago. Charlie, our golden retriever, let out a low, confused bark as I slid the door open, and there she was. Karen, 3 houses down. Floppy hat, sunglasses too big for her face, and a leopard print swimsuit that was putting up a valiant fight against gravity. She was lounging on my favorite pool float like she owned it, raised a mimosa at me and grinned. You're welcome for warming it up. That moment right there, that's when my suburban life as I knew it officially jumped the shark. Now, Karen wasn't exactly loved around here. Over the past 6 months, she'd managed to rack up a reputation like it was an Olympic sport. Complained about the smoke from my BBQs, reported my dog for barking meanwhile. Her parrot screamed bloody murder at 6 a.m. every day. Once, she even called the HOA to complain about the color of my mulch. I wish I were kidding, but this was next level. She'd climbed my 6-foot cedar fence, wandered into my backyard like it was a community spa, and now she was making herself comfortable with booze in hand. I asked what the hell she thought she was doing. She just waved me off and said it was unreasonably hot and that I wasn't using the pool, so she figured she'd take a dip for the greater good. I reminded her, calmly, that this was private property. She sipped her drink and replied, "Don't be such a gatekeeper." Before I could even gather the rage forming in my stomach, she dropped the real kicker. She had invited friends. As if on cue, 2 more women strolled in from around the side of the house, towels slung over their shoulders, Bluetooth speaker in hand, shouting, "Hey neighbor," like this was some beachside Airbnb. I turned right back around, went inside, and pulled up my security feed. There she was, in high definition, climbing my fence like a raccoon in flip-flops. I had all the angles. She ignored the signs, the locks, the whole concept of basic decency. And I knew, if she did it once, she'd do it again. So I didn't yell, didn't scream. I just smiled, because I already had a plan. That night, I called Marcus, old friend, former refrigeration tech, and asked him, "What's the fastest way to chill 12,000 gallons of water?" He laughed, thought I was joking. Then I told him about Karen. He got quiet and said, "Say no more." 2 days later, Operation Iceberg was born. Marcus had access to these industrial ice machines from when he used to help with food festivals, things that could turn a block party into an igloo. But I wasn't just going to dump ice and call it a day. I had to wait. Let her dig her own grave just a little deeper. So I left breadcrumbs, propped the gate slightly open, draped a towel over a chair, left a bottle of sunscreen on the table, made it look like I'd forgotten. Then I waited. Wednesday afternoon, my camera pinged. Motion detected. There she was again, Karen, bold as ever, dragging in a giant inflatable unicorn and blasting techno music like it was Coachella in my backyard. She waved at the camera. Waved. It was perfect. That night, Marcus and I went to work. Rolled 2 massive machines into the backyard, spent hours shoveling in ice. We shut off the heater, dropped in water chillers, even hung up some plastic snowflakes from the dollar store. My wife, who was now fully invested, suggested we loop Christmas carols on the outdoor speakers. The next morning, my pool looked like Queen Elsa had moved in. Saturday. Showtime. Karen showed up again, robe, smoothie, humming some pop tune like she was on a spa retreat. She didn't even glance around, just marched straight to the edge like she belonged there. The moment her foot hit that water, you'd think she stepped on a live wire. She screamed, high, loud, echoing off every fence on the block, slipped, flailed, and landed butt first into an ice bath. Her friends, halfway over the fence, froze mid-climb. One yelled, "What is this?" "Antarctica." I walked out holding a mug of hot cocoa, leaned on the deck rail, and said, "Just winterizing early." Karen shrieked, sputtered, demanded I explain myself. I pointed to the signs, no trespassing, private property, and then to the flashing red light of the security cam. She glanced up, realized every second of her ice plunge had been recorded. The smug fell off her face like makeup in a thunderstorm. I called the non-emergency line. Officer Morales showed up, reviewed the footage, and asked, "Ma'am, did you climb over the fence?" She replied, Dead serious. I was invited. Spiritually. He blinked once. You're being cited for trespassing. Karen exploded into some wild tirade about community harassment and targeted ice sabotage, but it didn't matter. The cold had done its job. The real freeze was just beginning. Next day, I get a formal HOA letter accusing me of creating a hazardous backyard environment. Karen clearly hadn't had enough. Now she was using the HOA to try and ice me out. Said I violated pool regulations with unapproved refrigeration installations. I laughed. It was my yard, my pool, and she wasn't even on the board. Then the video hit the internet. My buddy Jared had uploaded it. Title? Leopard Karen takes Arctic plunge. Within a day, 500,000 views. People were remixing her scream. Someone made a GIF. Memes poured in. Queen freeze. Frozen trespasser. I didn't expect it to go viral, but when it did, I realized I had something more powerful than HOA bylaws, public opinion. But Karen didn't back off. She doubled down. Snuck back in one night, dumped some kind of orange powder in the pool. Turns out, it was drink mix. Tried to damage the filter system. Caught on camera, again. That time, I didn't wait. Called the cops. Pressed charges. She was arrested quietly, taken in without cuffs. But that walk of shame? Glorious. That moment broke whatever spell she had over the neighborhood. Turns out, a lot of folks had stories, late-night doorbell rings, bogus complaints to animal control, even someone catching her in their backyard with a tape measure mumbling about code violations. HOA held an emergency meeting, suspended her voting rights, revoked her access to common areas, dug deeper, found out she'd done similar stuff in her last neighborhood, poisoned a koi pond with bleach because she didn't like the vibe. Eventually, Karen put her house up for sale. No one bought it. The viral video followed her. Real estate agents dropped her. One day, someone taped a screenshot of the video to her for sale sign, caption, free frostbite with purchase. I didn't do it, but I left it up. And then, like a villain who lost the final battle, she disappeared. One morning, a moving truck came. No farewell, no apology, just an empty driveway. Peace returned. A new couple moved in, Sam and Alyssa. Down to earth. Big dog named Luna. They threw a welcome barbecue and asked if there was anything weird about the previous owner. I smiled and said she was. Got a bit of a character. They laughed. I knew we'd be fine. The neighborhood slowly healed. We even threw a Karen-free zone party. Snowflake decorations, frozen lemonade, someone dressed as Santa. Denise handed me a golden whistle, neighborhood MVP. I hung it by the back door. And now, when people ask about the pool, I don't tell them everything. Just smile and say, it gets a little cold sometimes. Makes folks think twice before jumping in. So what do you think? Was I too petty, too patient, or just prepared? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me, if someone trespassed on your property like this, how would you handle it?